Namaskar, dear seekers, and good evening to everyone. So today's topic is our series of question answers, and tonight's topic is how to develop compassion and love for others. So what I will do now, I will share in short about myself. My name is Cyriaque. I come from France. I'm doing spiritual practice for more than 20 years, and I live in India in an ashram for more than 10 years. And now for the past 1 year, we are traveling around Germany. So now we are in a caravan, but due to lockdown, we are staying in one city, in one region. We are in center of Germany as present. And I would like to also explain about SSRF, that is the acronym of the Spiritual Science Research Foundation, that was founded in 2006 with the blessing of His Holiness Dr. Vallee, that is a sense of higher order from India. And there is many articles explain about spiritual dimension, spiritual phenomena, spiritual research, as well as spiritual practice. And in conjunction also with SSRF, there is a University of Spirituality that is a founder also. His Holiness Dr. Vallee is the founder of the university. And the university has aim is to reinstate that in ancient times there used to be many aspects about spirituality, how we can grow through different art form. So how we can grow spiritually through dance, through art, through singing. So this, in a way, this is the aim. And a lot of research is done also, biofeedback device. And all is published also on the website in conjunction with the University of Spirituality. So before we start our live stream tonight, what we do is for 2 minutes, we will just chant or meditate just to make the mind just calm so we can focus better for the live stream. So what you can do, you can either meditate. Some of you who are chanting, you can repeat the chant or mantras that you are familiar to. Some of you may be new, so you can just focus on your own breath. And at the same time, we will play in low tone a divine chant. So we'll do that for 2 minutes. So you can close your eyes and we will start.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Om Namo
So dear seekers, we can open your eyes and we will be starting the live stream now. I think some of you, if you just join us, today's topic is, that's our series now of question and answers, and today's topic is about how to develop spiritual love and compassion for others. So today many of you have joined now, many of you to learn, maybe you want to learn how to develop love and compassion, because we understand how the benefit, or we feel it is very nice. We want to experience that. but often we know when it comes into practice, we find difficult not to do it. So compassion is often associated with love for all. We can say sympathy, where love tends to be associated with an affection to a particular person. And in this live stream tonight, we will also be using compassion and love as one in the same. And we will include, of course, sympathy, empathy, understanding of others, care, and affections. In this session also, we will share the various stages of development of love to compassion, and the different stages how we can grow from love to spiritual love. The different obstacles also that we may face to put into practice, how to develop it, and actually practically how we can reach and overcome those obstacles. So of course you don't hesitate at any time during this session. You can ask questions about what I share. And the second part, we will also take your questions. This is one of the aspects of this live stream. In the second part, we will take all your questions live and answer your questions. So don't hesitate to ask any questions about the topic, misconceptions that you may have, obstacle also that you may have in this aspect or in this practical aspect. So when it comes to stages of love, of developing love or compassions, there are many various different stages, from less love, we can say, to unconditional love without any expectations. That is the ultimate, we can say, this love unconditional. So in stage one, we feel love for our families or our friends, but it has also expectations behind. So in a way it is conditional. And if our expectations are met, then we feel understood and loved. But otherwise, if it is not understood and loved, then we may feel upset or angry. So at that time, we may not feel that closeness or love for others. So in stage two, where we actually expand our love, we expand it to spiritual also aspirant or seeker, like somebody who is doing spiritual practice but on the same path. So in a way, we develop that love for others, who are our family, as well as those who may be practicing spirituality same like us. In the stage three, what happened? Our love expands further to also somebody we may be in a different path, who follow a different path. We feel that same closeness. What we say about stages now, it's at the level how we feel love and close to somebody within our own family. And usually our family is our parents, brothers, sisters, or we can see very close friends, or some relatives. And it is more or less like limited at that. But here what happens when we go to stage 3, now we are able to love others. In stage 4, it expands further to others that may not be looking into spirituality. They may not be interested in spirituality, but still we feel love for them and close to them. One of the more advanced level is in stage 5. At that time, our love extends to all human beings. So we feel that closeness as we may feel to our family members, to all human beings. And the ultimate, that is the stage 6, is where the love expands to feeling love for the entire creations, to all human beings, animals, even non-animate object. So, and we at that time have this experience that the entire or the whole world is my family. I don't know if some of you may had sometimes some glimpse of experience, because it can happen that sometimes we get that glimpse of experience, no? And suddenly on one particular we feel much more love towards others. I don't know if some of you may have experience. We can share also on the chat if you have experienced something like that. That suddenly, out of no reason, you start feeling love to others or to many people. Somebody who is unknown to you also, but it lasted maybe few minutes, 1 hour, 1 day. Now I would like to show you also an image, is to explain about worldly love with expectation. Maybe that picture is easy to understand. So here, as you can see, worldly love is mainly based on similarities, especially with somebody else's nature, huh? And with our like and dislike. And it is mainly through our five senses, mind and intellect, whether we have same understanding, same likes, same desires, or we look how the person look like. But when difference comes up, at that time what happened, we are unable to feel love. Why? Because we don't feel close to the person anymore. And just to come back now, see, love is what we say spiritual love, huh? Is not based in external things like similarities in personality or specific interest, but it is actually based in the love for God. So regardless of the differences, one is able to see the person as a manifestation of the divine. And this form of love also developed actually at a higher spiritual level with spiritual practice, but also with conscious effort and to develop this stage that we say unconditional love. I would like to show you also another image to explain, or so you may be able to understand about how it works. In regards to spiritual love, it is based on unchanging souls. Soul is a God principle, huh, within everyone, and it is like how a string links a bead to a necklace, whether it is any shape, color, or size. And actually the external nature is not important. What is important is the whole in each bead actually represent here the soul or the God principle, and the God principle is no difference in any others. So when we are able, because otherwise what happens now, we look at a person, we say small, tall, different colors, we judge, so we don't feel closeness. But when we are able, that spiritual love is able to see the same God in others. So if you have any questions or anything you would like to on the chat, you can share also. So maybe now we will come back and go back to what is interesting is this how to overcome the obstacle, or what can be the obstacles that come in between for us to stop developing this love or compassion for others. So actually this is some different defect within us, and it is one defect that are common is expectations. If moment we have some expectation and they are not met, no, and we don't feel close to someone. Or if we have anger. When we have anger, we cannot feel close to someone also. It is the opposite of love, as well as judgment. When we judge somebody as per their look or how they behave, at that time we can't feel love for them. So like that we can see those defects as well as unforgiving natures or being selfishness, and there may be other defects also. But mainly those defects are actually a block to stop us to actually grow in practicing or developing love for others. I know some of you, in case, you may have tried also to develop love for others, but whether you have encountered something like that, and then you were not knowing how to proceed, what to do. So in a way, those defects will either stop us or also will limit us. It will give us some limitation, no? And how to develop, important is how to develop love and grow in it. So we understand first what are the obstacles. So there can be two approaches that can help in this aspect. One is to overcome the obstacles, to overcome and reduce those obstacles, and in a way in this process of how we overcome defect of personality. So His Holiness Dr. Atabali, that is a source of inspiration of SSRF, have developed this personality defect removal process that is mainly to address how to overcome deep-rooted defect within us, like it can be anger, it can be jealousy, envy. Also, those defects stop us to develop love for others. So this process of introspection, understanding those defects within us, and in a practical way also how to take or address within autosuggestions by replacing with a positive action or a positive perspective, then in time it change our thought process and then it change our actions also. And the second approach is to make practical efforts to, let's say, develop love for others. Let's say we live with someone, whether it is someone we live at home, someone who are close to us. So in either we are close to them or in a conversation, no? Then we should pay more attention to their wishes, and not as per what we like only and what we think, but to think more about, develop that quality of thinking about others. And well, let's say a simple example, maybe at practical level. Sometimes we want to get water, somebody is there around us. Then we ask, can somebody would like to bring water for that person? So small actions actually help us to develop love for others. And the other also will respond in a better way because they think that we are trying to develop love, caring. And also, when it comes to working now on a particular obstacle that actually obstruct love for others, we also can keep, let's say, expectation. We have high expectation from others. So here, or we have judgment to somebody also. Then we can keep some understanding, more understanding, or appreciating others' quality. At the time, we may understand, we may realize that the person have different situation or they have many good qualities that we don't have. Then that will automatically reduce our judgment or expectations. Then we will automatically develop more closeness. And if we try also to go further, learn from them, try to develop, to learn from their qualities, and we further able to develop closeness with them. Or sometimes for reducing, let's say, unforgiving, because if we are not able to forgive, then we will always remain with anger or prejudice in our mind, so we cannot develop love for others. So here is how to let go of past or to let go of small things. Many times if we may see in graphs of forgiving, sometimes we remain stuck with small situations that has happened. So how to let go of those of those small situations and to forgive. That is a very important aspect also in spiritual practice and spiritual progress, because it helps us to go ahead. And one other aspect also, we can observe others who we know have love for others or thinking about others, and try to emulate and try to develop also. Because ultimately, if we want to develop love for others, we should try to go step by step and develop those steps, thinking about others. Then it should not be only at thought level, but it should come from at action level. Remaining only at thought level would not actually help us, because caring is much more important. We say I love you, but in reality we remain in our own mind, but we don't take care of the person. So ultimately it is more important, action is more important, how we help the others, how we and ultimately we start feeling and developing this love for others. So dear seeker, if you have any questions also on that practically also of how to go ahead, or practical obstacles that you are facing that at home and you want to actually overcome those obstacles, you can share also on the chat. We can take now your questions, your situations also. So there is from Nicola Antonic. One seeker told me that developing love for evil people can be dangerous and can lead such seeker into trouble. Could you share more on this? See, here is how to say, saying to develop love for evil people. It's at the level of theory, again at stage 6, that when somebody is at the highest level, sense, then they can have love for everyone. But where we stand, where we are, we should try to develop love for those who are close to us. We should try to develop love for them, at least for those who are caring for us or are around us. This is at a highest level, no? And only somebody who is a saint of higher level can actually have, it is not like develop love. Automatically they have love for everyone, to every human being. So it is not like that, now I will practice love for evil people, but I'm not even developing love for normal person. Doesn't make sense, no? First I should try to develop love for people around me. Ultimately, we don't develop love for evil people. When we evolve spiritually to higher level, it automatically happens that we love everyone. I hope it clarifies your question, huh, Nicola. It's a misconception, what you share. And this is what happens in spirituality. There is a lot of misconception and misunderstanding or misinterpretation of the knowledge. There is another question from Jyoti Moore, Chakraborty. Is love a subject of attractions? See, when it comes to love, worldly love, no? Then they can be, like it is as per 5 senses, mind and intellect. So it is as per how you look. Let's say you look good. Then the person feel attracted by the look. So here, there is a law, no? This attraction. Or the like and dislike. So here there is attraction. But when it comes to spiritual love, it is from the soul within. It is from the God principle. I hope it is more clear to you, Jyoti Moore. Another question from Nanette P. The problem for me is to feel love or to see the divine in a person when this person's behavior is not spiritually pure. How to see the divine in this person? See, again, same thing, Nanette. It depends on different stages where we are. So because we have, as I share one obstacle, expectations from others. So if they don't behave in a proper way, then we get upset. So that's why practicing spirituality, overcoming ego or defect within us, expectation, judgment, then we will not judge the person, how they behave, but we will be able to see the God principle in them. That's why being able to see the God principle in others happen at a higher stage in spirituality. There is another question from Sumit Singh. Most of the people I have met, 99% of those are not spiritual. Most of them are mean and selfish. I feel like to be silent, ancient, and not interact with anyone. I hope it is correct, but help others will create give and take account. Except for spiritual guru, we gave some names, Shreya Maharaj, Parampuja, and Parampuja Pandey Baba. I have found compassion in anything or anyone. This is Sumit Singh, no? Ultimately, only saints who are at higher spiritual level have this love, with an unconditional love, what we call also pretty. That is love with unconditional. And in today's time, no, most people are not practicing spirituality. So what happens? They are more selfish, or they have different defect. They don't have love for others. So most of the time with others, we may not experience it. But you say closing ourselves will not help us also in your spiritual practice to overcome. Ultimately, you should work on overcoming prejudice, anger, expectation from others. Then after, even if others are not maybe behaving properly. But at that time, you are not affected, no, by their behavior or situation. You are able to accept how they are. So ultimately, we should realize that it's not about others, it's about me. I need to change myself. I need to grow spiritually. There's another question from Aman Kumar. What should be the aim of our life? So Aman Kumar, it is a bit out topic, but I will answer your questions. We are born for two reasons. We are born again and again to go through our destiny and experience either happiness or unhappiness. And the second aim or purpose is not to become an engineer, lawyer, architect. It's not the purpose. Because when we die, at that time we don't carry our certificate with us or our identity. Actually, the second is to grow spiritually. That is the second aim. So this is a real aim. After everyone will choose as per their spiritual inclination or desire. Some they want to become rich, famous, or have a nice worldly life, nice family home. That is more at the worldly aspect. But if we as a seeker, we want to grow spiritually. So we want to realize God. So the aim is what should be done to grow spiritually. So like that, it will depend on where we stand and which aim we want to choose. But when it comes to spirituality, that is the main aspect, that we should grow spiritually. That is the main aim. From Sarika Deepa, this is another question. If someone has cheated you, in spite you having unconditional love for him or her, should you continue loving or you should stay away? See, Sarika, whatever happened to us, in relationship, it's as per destiny. So after this, somebody was nice to me, I will be nice. And somebody hurt me, so I will not be nice anymore. But again, this will not help us, in growing spiritually. As we have shared, we should, even though whatever the person may have done to us, good or bad, especially bad, it may be because of previous birth only. So ultimately, we should be able to let go, to forgive. And that not only because ultimately, this grudge that we keep in our mind or this resentment pulls us down. It is something that pulls us down. So it is better to let go whatever has happened, and we can still love everyone regardless of what has happened. But for that, by only doing spiritual practice and growing spiritually, we are able to achieve that stage. Ultimately, when somebody hurt us, usually we stay away. This is natural. Why? Because we are sensitive due to our, we can say, the opposite such as emotionalism, insecurity, because somebody hurt us. That's why we can't have love for others. But when we grow more and more, then we may have love, regardless if somebody is nice or not nice. We still love them. As how we love a child, If we have a child and the child doesn't behave properly, we may get angry. But next day, we may love them the same. It doesn't change. So if you are a mother, you may understand. From Carlin Jewell, this is another question. What if it is too hard to forgive people for past wrongs? I want to forgive, but I have resentment and anger towards my entire family. Yes, Carlin, it is understandable and it is difficult. So that's why this is this process now of overcoming defect of personality or impression caused from the past. And this autosuggestion technique is very helpful. Why? Because we can actually tailor-made this situation, exact situation from the past. So whenever I remember how my mother treated me, I will realize it was because of the past. Now I'm in present, I'm better. So I will let go, forgive her, and focus on chanting. So when we repeat such type of autosuggestions, it will reduce that impressions that has been active in our mind for 10 years, 20 years. And as I shared, there are many seekers across the world who were able to overcome situations from childhood or the past and even traumas just from autosuggestions, and able to also able to forgive and let go. And for that, the seeker we are able to change and grow spiritually. As I remember, otherwise those stay in our mind, and this bring us down. This weight in our mind like pull us down. From Akshay Kulkarni, how to differentiate between spiritual love and pure attraction-based love. See, here Akshay we explain, no? The spiritual love is not based on any external, whether how the person look like, how they talk, how they behave, whether she have blonde hair, blue eyes. It is not based on that at all. So here we are able to experience it's a different type of spiritual love also, because it is much more powerful. As pure attraction based, as you say, we lose as per criteria, we like because it is in such a way. I think I've shared also before, Akshay. For another question from Saidipak Gopinath, I find it difficult to have love towards a family member who has treated me badly for no fault of mine. So Sadipak, I don't know if it has answered your question of what I shared just before to, I forgot her name, about, I think Caroline, no? It was how to overcome the past. So to take autosuggestions techniques to help to overcome impression from childhood or traumas from the past. It can be overcome, but we have to work on it. And it is something that initially we may not find it easy, because when we may address it, it may be painful also. But if we are sincere and we work on it properly, we can overcome it fully. There's another question from Nicola Antonic. I understand. Gratitude. Okay, so having love for bad people is not good if you are at a lower spiritual level, as only saints are capable of it. Again, Nicola, here to understand, no? We should focus in developing love for those who are around us, because we are not in position to develop love for people who are bad. It will just not work. So it's better to focus on trying to change ourselves and develop love for those who we can do, we feel close to. And ultimately, when we grow spiritually, then we will be capable of so. From Atul Bali, this is another question. Can love also be beyond compassion or beyond having concern for others without expectations? See, when we have love, unconditional love, at that time we are not having any thought in mind how others has, what they do, worry, concern. We are just having, it's just like natural only. It's just not bound to something with time and space. It's just love for others with no reason, no stimulus. From Anaga Barde, that is another question. How to develop spiritual love? I often get involved emotionally so much that I go away from experiencing the spiritual love. So you can see you already, Anaga, you has the question, but you almost give the answer, no? You often get emotionally involved. Those emotion or emotionalism, no, will be an obstacles, because it will be through our mind, five sense and mind. So that's why then to work how to reduce emotionalism. And if we have emotion, we may have attachment also. So practically work on how to reduce this defect, because it may affect also in other aspects of life. Another question from Shivani Dogra. I have an obstacle that even if I feel love for someone, I can get overwhelmed. For example, when watching some distress news, I get overwhelmed with the feeling that why can't God make everyone okay? I feel like I have some responsibility. That is why such things come in front of me. I feel totally helpless, and then I start giving myself the perspective that maybe it is destiny for them and I should just ignore it. If I ignore, I feel guilty, and if I pay attention, I become very emotional and overwhelmed. What kind of approach should I have in this situation? So her name is Shivani. So Shivani, see, here it happened, no? We look at news, we see somebody that are in war or people don't have food. Then we feel emotional, no? We feel sensitive. We say, how come somebody can suffer? So it is some type of more compassion, no? For a situation or for different people they are in. And it can be understandable. But what happens is when we practice on our grow spiritually, no? It is not that we may not help the person or we may not feel compassion. But here to understand that you feel disturbed by it. So it is more at emotional level. That situation disturb you. But when we grow spiritually, at that time what happens? It is we understand their situation, but we are not disturbed by it. So whether the person will do something at action level, they may do something at action level, but they may not feel disturbed from inside. I don't know if you understand the difference. Whatever is the experience, we understanding is the same. Action will be the same, maybe doing something for them, but emotionally, the person become unstable, and the other is stable, not disturbed at all by the situation. So actually, it is better, no? Because when we are stable and not disturbed, then we are able to understand even more, or we are able to help them in the situation better. I don't know if it clarifies for you, Shivani. See, ultimately also, when we grow spiritually more and more, no, we feel closeness with them, oneness with them, but we don't feel disturbed by it. And for that, there is no secret, Shivani, to be able to go from stage 1 to stage 2, or from this stage to this stage. We should work on it. And first we should see what happens when we want to develop spirit. We want to develop love, but we don't want to overcome the obstacles. So of course it becomes difficult now, because we try to develop love, but our emotions stop us. But if we remove emotions, automatically it will be very easy to develop love for others. I hope it is more clear to everyone, because most of the time we want to develop love for someone and we try practically to do things, but we don't want to, and this is easier than overcoming anger or judgment. Overcoming judgment or anger, it's much more difficult. Why? Because we have to make effort by our mind to change ourselves. This is a question from Ramya. Is autosuggestion and affirmation the same? It's a good question, Ramya. So there is a difference in regards to affirmation. Some of you may be knowing it is actually a sentence that helps to control a particular situation. So let's say there are something, we will tell ourselves, I'm calm, I'm stable, I'm calm. That is more affirmations. It helps us to control the situation or to remain stable in a situation. And the difference is autosuggestions. Autosuggestion is a particular sentence tailor-made that address an exact situations or impression in our subconscious mind. So let's say I'm angry to a situation. I will give an example. I'm angry to a person that come and I'm very disturbed. So at that time, I will tell myself, Cyriaque, don't get angry. I'm calm. Don't get angry. That is affirmations. And autosuggestion will be, whenever I feel disturbed and angry to this person, I will realize that this happened or this happened. I will remain calm and start chanting. So in a way, we address the exact problem, the root, we can say. And what happened? It goes faster. The problem goes. Affirmation will just try to control it, but it will not remove the impressions. Autosuggestions will actually remove the impressions. That is the difference, because it is deeper. Huh? And remember, autosuggestion has to be tailor-made. That means it should be simple. And this is something we also offer as SSRF. This is one of the platform that we have more than 50 satsang, that's in meetings online, that is all for free, that SSRF offer for seekers in their spiritual practice, in this process actually of overcoming defect or personality. So seeker can join online. We have different groups as per different level, of course, language and time zone. And we share some point about spirituality, spiritual practice, and we also help the seeker in this process, and especially how to frame this autosuggestion, to analyze, to come to that autosuggestion and help to frame it also. After, it is up to you whether you want to, ultimately we give you that solution, but after that solution we have to put into practice, to repeat it. There's another question from Sumit Singh. As per as today, Sadguru Rajendra, that is one son from India, said not to waste time in association with others and concentration on chanting, prayer and spiritual healing only. Kindly guide. Can I help someone who is begging on the street or provide food for anger is part of... Okay, you have two separate questions. Here, what I think this saint mentioned in the first question is ultimately, see, we should try to make effort to focus on our spiritual practice, to grow spiritually. So we should try to utilize our time in a proper way, whether to chant or meditate, if you want to overcome defect of personality, or do other step of spiritual practice. So ultimately here is, we should try to increase and utilize our time in a better way. We can always, you say, can I help someone who is begging on the street or provide food for anger? Is that part of the great illusion or spirituality? Does it create a give and take account? Not lucky enough to find spiritual friend in this world. See, after that, if we want to give food or we want to give money to somebody who is begging on the street, again, everyone can do, but just to understand that why the person is a beggar on the road, because there must be some karma happen to them. So it is not like we will not have a caring or helping. What can happen also is, by doing so, by helping the beggar, we may create merits, and that is good. That is good to help somebody, and we create merits. See, for somebody who is selfish, who doesn't do any type of spiritual practice, who is selfish and doesn't think about others, it is good that he helps, giving money to beggars, giving money to charity. It helps. But when we are seekers, at that time we want to grow spiritually. So it doesn't mean that we will not help someone. We may help someone, but ultimately it is important to realize that if we grow spiritually, then we will be able to help others in a much better way. See, it's like, give an example, no? Somebody who is fishing, or somebody who is, let's say, fishing. You give them You give them a fish who wants to fish, but he doesn't have fishing rope. So you give him a fish, a beggar, giving a fish every day. But what will be best is to give a fishing rope, no? And teach him how to fish. That will be much better gift, no? So like that, when we grow spiritually, then we will be able to help others in a much better way. So we'll be able, instead of giving a fish to somebody, we'll be able to give a fishing rope, and person become independent. Because when they learn how they can grow spiritually and go outside or overcome their destiny and karma, and they become free from destiny, then they're able to grow and become one with God. There's another question from Aman Kumar. I am a 14 years old student and I want to become a person who does not live only for himself but for all. I want to achieve all those qualities which are needed to be great personality. It is very nice, Aman, that you are very young, and it is very nice that you're this young age, no? You want to actually live for others and help others. So it is important to what you are doing presently, maybe in school. So how to behave properly, how to develop qualities of helping others. So family members whom you are, how to see love begin at home. So how I behave with my family members, how I am doing, how I can overcome different defects such as expectation, anger, and then try to develop this love at home with your parents, your family members. That's very nice. At this young age, you have this desire to actually think about others. But remember, love starts at home, and you can start doing those practical aspects at home. From Don Spinoza, I agree with letting go, but developing unconscious love to bad people will be tolerating their bad practice. How can you forgive and love this type of people? Again, Don Spinoza, it is the same question that Andrea, I think that was asked in the beginning of the last stream. See, ultimately now we are thinking how I can develop love for bad people. See, again, we are not capable, no? We should try to be able to develop love for people who are good or people who are around us. That also is already difficult. So let's say we are here and we try to do here. We cannot. It's like I will try to develop love for bad people, but I cannot even give nice love to people who are nice to me. So same thing only. With good you are able to let go, but you should try to develop love for those who are around you and who are good, where you can do that. When you grow spiritually, much higher level, automatically it happens that you are able. And again, if somebody does something wrong, if let's say if somebody is there now and somebody is higher level and sees somebody doing something bad, they will tell the person what you're doing is wrong. But they have love for everyone, but they will tell. Sense also in spirituality, they correct us because they tell us where we are wrong. So if somebody is doing something wrong, we should tell them, we can tell them. But ultimately, the love for others are there. Maybe understanding why that person is like this, what happened. It doesn't remain in the mind. So remember, important is to develop love for those who are around you and whom you can develop. Another question from Suhil Kumar. Does visualization works? If it works, then how we can apply? See, in this topic of developing love for others, visualization doesn't work at all. Here, to develop love for others, now we have to work on action level. Helping others, caring has to be shown through actions. Visualization has no meaning in this aspect. Ultimately, when somebody reaches a very, very high level, sense of highest level. They don't have to say. Actually, in SSRF, the source of inspiration is Holiness Dr. Vallee. I would like to share an experience also. We used to organize in the ashram, in the research center, workshops. So people used to come from all over the world. Now it is stopped because of Corona, but I hope it will start again as soon as the COVID stops. There is a 5-day workshop and people come from all over the world. And in the end of the workshop, they will also meet a saint, His Holiness Dr. Vallee, or some saints. And at that time, many, when a moment the saint will enter the room, without saying a word, many will start either having spiritual emotion or cry or experience this unconditional love. So at that stage, love doesn't have to be expressed by words, because at that time, the sense is actually reached a higher level of unconditional love. But remember your question about visualization here has no meaning. Developing love or caring has to be put into action. And most of the time, this practice of visualizations in any aspect in spiritual progress has almost no power at all. Practice spirituality is practical. We have to put into efforts. Another question from Akshay Kulkarni. Is spiritual love mean neglecting others' mistakes, hate, misbehavior towards us, especially in office? So it's the same question. I don't know if that question maybe answer what I shared before, no? That how others behave, because we have expectation, or then we have reaction towards them. When somebody is at a higher level and have love for others, they may correct them, but they will not have reactions, or they will not be disturbed. They will tell them their mistakes or incorrect behavior, but they will still feel the closeness towards them. That is the difference. In office, what happened? Somebody misbehave, no? Or doesn't behave properly. Then we hate them. We get angry with them. We don't want to speak to them. We go away from them. And we don't want to tell them also where they are wrong. We just keep in our mind and keep repeating in our mind, this person is bad, this person is bad. But here somebody who is at higher level, they will go to them and say what you do is incorrect. But they will be helping them to maybe overcome this problem. And on top of that, they will develop the closeness. How a mother will correct a child and tell him what you do is wrong. So correct them and give love. This is what saints are capable of, like a divine mother. I know it is more clear to you, no? See, we have realized, actually, if we practice spirituality and overcome defect within us, no? See, here again, we keep misconception in our mind. We say that if I develop love and somebody behave bad, that means it is not good because they behave bad. But we understand we have a misunderstanding because of our ego or defect. We become narrow-minded. We can't understand. So that's why growing spiritually is like love of a mother, no? Mother forgive child. How they behave, they teach them. But a mother is capable of doing it only to the child. But a saint is capable of doing it to every human being like that. Because they see every human being as their own child. Because they see the God principle in each one of them. There's another question from Saturado. If your parents abuse you as a child, will God punish them in the next life? If yes, how will God punish them? See, Saturado, this is a bit other topic, but see, again, what happened? Whether this happened because of previous birth, like previous birth. So whether I did something bad to them in previous birth, that's why in this birth this happened to me. So we don't know whether it is because of previous birth or something new happened. See, whatever happened because of destiny. which country we are born, which family, which parents we have, brothers. It is destiny only, and we experience happiness or unhappiness. And for you, is I can understand with such situation we may develop anger, no, or hatred even. But to think how God will punish them next life, it is anger only, hatred. So remember, maybe if something happened to you, whether you did something before to them, we don't know. But ultimately you should be able to forgive, let go. Then only you will be able to go to a positive mind and go with a positive mind in the future. Otherwise, mind will remain negative in the past always. And for that, you can work on this, of to overcoming this trauma or impression. You can work on this autosuggestion technique. We can share on the chat also our satsangs. You can always contact us. We have pin on top. You can always email us, contact us. We can speak to you, to all of you. Or you can come to our free satsang online to learn about this topic, become independent in this process. Then you can overcome the different impressions, mainly that was happened to us due to destiny. From Anna Mungdini, that is another question. I often judge others the way I judge myself. Is it true that we can only love others if we love ourselves, and the other way around? Can you say something about it? It's a good question also, Hannah. So see, here is, first we have to overcome, no? See, we have impression in ourselves, expectation towards others, and expectation towards ourselves also. And how it's not like we have to love ourselves, if we have to accept where we stand, and by overcoming the different impression in our mind, then slowly what happens, we are not affected by different situations, person, behavior. And we are able to see the God in others. So when we are able to experience God in others, no? And as that time, we love others. This is not like I have to love myself, because there is a danger, no? If I love myself, I become narcissistic, no? And I will develop ego only. So we should accept ourselves how we are with our shortcoming. We should also understand which quality I have, and then work on ourselves and try to understand that also there is a God within us and God within others. And with spirituality, this is slowly what happens. Ultimately, we judge ourselves how we look like, no, on how we are, and we judge others also externally how they look like and how they are. But when we practice spirituality, we start to correct ourselves, and then we start looking ourselves more objectively. Similarly, we start also looking at others more objectively. How we are accepting our shortcoming, we are also started accepting others' shortcoming, and we start appreciating our own qualities. Then we start appreciating others' quality. But ultimately to realize that the God in me and the God in Sam is the same. So not to get stuck in only the quality and defect in ourselves and others, but to go to transcend it, and then it's a matter of step, no? It doesn't happen by tomorrow. By working on it gradually, we go from the different level of stages, and it's a beautiful travel. It's a beautiful journey. Some Srubamyanyan Rameshwami, sorry, I may have not said the name properly. Sometimes a thought get into our mind and we keep on thinking same thought again and again. What is best to get rid of it? Usually they are negative. So Subramanian, see sometimes what happens now, we get thoughts. So thought come, let's say, due to a situation with judge situations or something happen, and it remain in our mind, and it's like a loop only, no? Because we don't know how to stop the mind. The mind is always It's like the sea, no? Casting wave to the shore. So it is like trying to go on the shore and stopping the wave not to go to the shore. It's impossible, no, we cannot. So like that, the mind always goes in a circle and different thoughts will arise in our mind. So that's why chanting, repeating God's name in our mind helps to reduce those thoughts coming out, because this is a method of reflections. We will paste also an article for you on the website of how chanting works. That mind only on one thought at a time to come. So when we chant, it's reduce automatically the number of thoughts in our mind. And then we don't get stuck into it. We're able to come out of that vicious cycle. Another question from Michelle Brown. Sometimes I feel love for those and me for no reason, heart filled with compassion. But when expectation from the very people come in mind for their own good, this feeling of love is disturbed. I feel even this expectation for their good should go away, but I struggle in overcoming it. It is good, at least, Michelle knows that you are able to feel love for those for sometimes no reason, and you feel also compassion. But again, see, as a channel, when this expectation come and when our expectations are not met of how a person should be or does, then at that time the love reduce automatically. So that's why too, if you can't change others, no, we can't change others. But if we work on ourselves to overcome our expectations, then this is where this feeling will not stop. Whether the person behave in this way or not this way, how the love will remain untouched. Another question from Eramb Acharya. How to increase love for God? How to get stuck in God instead of being stuck in people? That is a good question, Eramb, because this is most of the time now we want appreciations, or we want to get love from people because we don't know other source or other sources. No, it is a natural thing. There is a need for love or understanding and compassion. So we seek it through a human being. And some people who are sometimes dejected of human being, they try to get it from animals because they know that animal will not hurt them back. But ultimately, we try to get from others, from human beings. And that's why some also try to visit saints, because from human beings sometimes they get disappointed after some time. Because naturally, no, after human beings they are where they are. But when they have made sense of higher order, they experience this real love. That is what we call unconditional love. And that is overwhelming feeling. So that's why to realize that to be able to go to that stage, to experience the God, to know people, by practicing spirituality, overcoming our shortcoming, developing that understanding, not by intellect, because we know, no, by theory, intellect, God is in me, God is in you. That we know it by intellect. But by mind or experience, we can't feel it. So spirituality is not theory at all. But by practicing spirituality, working on ourselves, changing our perspective, let's say I have a situation, I'm thinking that I can change my perspective, no, in my mind. So it takes time. That is spiritual practice, to change our actions, to change our thought process, and to change our attitude. Then automatically what happens? We are able to transcend mind and intellect. We are able to see the God in others. Then we are not stuck in people, how they are, but we are connected to the God in others. And ultimately, it is easy to experience by meeting saints. Why? Because they have that connection for God and they have unconditional love for others. But if we practice spirituality, we can also experience it. No? Ultimately, every human being wants it. Every human being wants to experience this love and unconditional love. Because actually one of the main quality of God is unconditional love. Why we love God? We don't love God because He's all powerful. We love God because God loves us, because God have unconditional love. As there are different comments, I will read from Yolanda Cosma. It's hard to have unconditional love towards people who start war, for example. Again, Yolanda, remember what I shared a few times. We should develop love for those whom we can develop love. When not to try, we will not be able to develop love for those who don't behave properly. That happen at higher stage automatically. From Shrutri, you see, I feel a person is destroying my married life. It's just in my mind. I try to slowly accept the situation, but I feel that I'm compromising and don't feel love in that, or not even 100% acceptance. Naturally, Shruti, no? See, again, some situation are strong, no? Maybe difficult. So it may be difficult. We can't feel love, no, in that situation. Remember where we stand, where we are. So here we will not be able to feel love or 100% acceptance. But we will try to increase acceptance. We will try to develop forgiveness. We will try to work on developing to reduce our anger, our emotions. Remember, only somebody with at a very high spiritual level, when situations like that, they are not disturbed. Why? Because they are one with God only. So like that, we should not put the bar too high. When there are difficult situations, I cannot feel love. Remember, we should practice where we stand. We should practice how to develop love where we are at, where in the situation we can. And if I can accept 50%, let me try to accept 60%, like that only. In that situation, you may not be able to accept 100%. It is understandable. From Sonal Kadambari, okay, you are so beautiful. The way it is, things are shared. From Nicola Antonisch, the main problem for me is lack of desire to actually make efforts. That is actually the main point for many, Nicola. We feel very nice. We come to live stream. The topic is very interesting. We know that love is nice. But when it comes to make efforts, nobody wants to do. Nobody wants to really make efforts to change, because ultimately we have to change ourselves and not others. This is what is important in spirituality. We have to make efforts. From VP, my main problem is anger. Even though I love those people, I get angry fast. That is good, VP, that you are acknowledging, no, that there is anger. And correct, anger is actually the opposite of love for others. Even though you have love for them, but to work on it, no. And especially also, I would like to share that anger can be a very dangerous defect, because in anger we may say or do something that we cannot fix later on, and we may hurt someone that may lead to later on some result that may lead our life into difficult situations that may not be even reparable. So to take it seriously, when we have anger and especially short temper, and we may speak rudely to others, we have to work hard on it, because we may lose our relationship. So just to understand that anger can make us suffer. So to work on it, there is no secret. We have to work on it seriously. Until and unless we don't take our defects seriously, how it affects others, then we will never feel the need to change them. We feel satisfied now with our defect and qualities. But we should realize that defect within us can actually will give us only unhappiness. It will give unhappiness to others and to myself also. From Vesna also, you feel angry and emotional. From Saturado, you say, I try to be spiritual without religion by not having friends or not having romantic relationship. See again here, no? Saturado, ultimately, we are human beings, no? So we should try to learn from others, whether it is friends or relationship. We can develop understanding. So trying to seclude ourselves and not to interact with anyone may not help us. Because ultimately situation, no? See, there are two things. Either I want to renounce the world, so I go to Himalaya. But to learn about ourselves, it will be difficult. If you remain here and work in situations, facing others, understanding others, then we are able to overcome things much faster. From Acharna, in one of the satsang, Parent Puja is the saint of SSRF, says that one has to get rid of a wrong impression and our bad impression, and only then we can chant well. But unless we chant, we may not get the energy to work on bad impressions. Here is important, no? That if our mind is full of thoughts, no, full of negative thoughts or bad impression, then it is difficult, no, to make progress. At that time, we should make effort to chant. We should make effort to work on overcoming defect within us. Then after it becomes easier to make spiritual progress. The Sukumar Nandip asked a question, but again, it is the same questions, Sukumar, that how to love our enemies. Again, that is not practical questions, because ultimately we should make effort to love those who are close to us. We are having expectation to, maybe family members with where we have anger sometimes. So it's better to overcome first that. This is the first stage. Then when we overcome anger, expectation, judgment to our family member and close one, then we can only think to see how to develop love for those whom are in a way not close to us. That is the first step. This is another question from Ramesh Bhai. I understand it is important to forgive people, but what about such people who are related to us and continue doing us wrong or taking advantage of our forgiving nature? What to do in such scenario? See here, Ramesh, no? Important is what? Is to let go or to forgive in our mind. Doesn't mean we will not stop somebody doing something incorrect at action level. Here what we want to overcome is in our mind, the reactions in our mind. You understand the difference, no? So in a way, somebody is not behaving properly. So we will maybe tell them not to stop them. But in our mind, we are able to let go. We are not it doesn't stay in our mind. Because whatever we keep in our mind will bring us down only. So dear sir, it is nice that you have shared different points and different questions. I just wanted to share that, see, actually to grow in love for others, it is important also to develop those quality of thinking about others and understanding. It is two important quality of understanding and thinking about others. And if we make efforts to work on this, we can progress to the different stages and be able to experience in a way the love that saints have for the world. So dear seeker, I hope you learned something in this live stream today. I would like to share also that on Sunday we have a workshop of 3 hours. It is through donation, so you can give whatever you like or can. And the topic will be the spiritual transformation. It will be 2 hours topic where we will share tips and practical aspect or some healing aspect as well of what we discussed today, no? Of overcoming defect of personality. So we will do practical exercise with you. And the second aspect of the workshop of that has been the second part, it is of 1 hour duration, will be about the feeling of plants, that plants also have consciousness and respond to positive and negative vibrations. And we have done some research using biofeedback device which shows how plants actually are able to perceive positive and negative vibration and the impact on them. That is quite fascinating. This is of 3 hours and that will be on Zoom. And also Thursday, that is tomorrow, Thursday, Saturday and Sunday, we also have our collective chanting meditation. So dear seeker, wishing you a good evening or a good day, and maybe hope to see you tomorrow or next week. Namaskar to all of you.